know what? I was just like, oh.
Good morning to the citizens of Douglas County and the Board of Commissioners. Welcome to our September 30th, 2024 work session, Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Board of Commissioners, this meeting will come to order. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am. We have District Commissioner 1, Henry Mitchell.
Present.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I'll do that again since I wasn't speaking in the... District 1, Commissioner Henry Mitchell.
Present.
District 2, Commissioner Whitney Kenner Jones.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Martin Raxton.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner Vice Chair Mark Alcaraz.
Present.
Chairman Ramona Jackson Jones.
Present. Thank you so much, Clerk. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda this morning?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Board of Commissioners, any questions? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Please indicate by raising your hand. Right. Okay. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carried to adopt the agenda. Certainly, Clerk, you have the floor to discuss the time limits. Well, I'll do that portion for the Board of Commissioners. As a reminder, each commissioner, we have 3 minutes to make remarks with a 2-minute rebuttal this morning, okay? Thank you so much. Clerk, you have the floor.
Yes, next on the agenda is public comment. We did not have anyone to sign in.
Okay. No one signed in today. Board of Commissioners, please be prepared tomorrow for next on our agenda is the meeting minutes. Commissioners, please review those minutes before tomorrow's meeting and be prepared to approve or deny accordingly. Proclamations. Clerk, certainly I'm allowing you to read that this morning.
Yes, ma'am. We will have 2 proclamations tomorrow. The first one will be proclaiming the month of October 2024 as Cybersecurity Month in Douglas County. That will be read by Alex Betancourt. And the next one is proclaiming the month of October 2024 as National Hispanic Month in Douglas County, and we'll have that reader before tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you so much, Clerk. Agenda items, we're certainly going to move into those in a minute, but certainly wanted to make a few comments regarding this Hurricane Helene that just passed, and wanted to just first of all thank God for allowing our citizens to remain, the citizens and also the property here in Douglas County to remain safe. We had some mild flooding, is what I was given on the report. Certainly we fared very well during the storm, and so I'm just thanking God for allowing us to remain safe, and certainly pray around for those who were impacted by the storm. Would like to certainly commend our disaster emergency team and our cabinet members and also our directors and administrators who worked so very tirelessly and hard to make sure that we all remain safe. So certainly if we have any of our directors and cabinet members who were involved in making sure that we were safe, if you could stand for me this morning, please. Let's give them a hand. Thank you so much. With that being said, Clerk, I yield the floor to you regarding agenda items. Any other comments? I don't want to be rude. I certainly want to yield the floor to my commissioners if they have comments. Commissioner Raxton, you look like you have something to say.
Madam Chair, thank you. And again, I just want to again echo Madam Chair's comments in regards to the safety and security of public health to our community. So thank you. And I would also like to recognize Commission District 1, Commissioner Henry T. Mitchell, for being here, and welcome. So it's good to see you. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I just want to acknowledge your presence this morning. Madam Chairman, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you. Any other remarks? Commissioner Mitchell, you leaned in. You want to say something?
No, I was just going to say thank you, and glad to be here, and glad to be back, and glad this stuff is behind us, and we're ready to move forward. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other comments forward? All right, I yield the floor to you, Clerk. You have the floor.
Thank you. We will start with our grants. Number 6 on the agenda is approval to accept the FEMA-GEMA grant HMGP 4400-0066 in the amount of $96,385 with a federal share of $72,289 with a local match of $24,096 to be funded through the general fund for the purchase and installation of a 100-watt fixed generator for the Douglas County Fleet Maintenance Building, amend the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. And we did have James Queen. I guess Heath Cowart will be here to present.
Well, the grant actually, we benefit off of it. The whole county does, but it's the this grant we put in for 5 or 6 years ago. It was Jason Milholland, I believe, was the originator of applying for it, and James Worthington. But this in short is just something that this generator backs up fleet. So coming off the heels of this past storm, we had people on call 24 hours, spending the night up there, and we have to service the first responders. So if they go down, then they're not able to get out there. So it's real important funds. So when the lights turn off, they kick right back on. That's what this is for. The match, I believe, is from general fund for $24,000, and we have some funds from the surplus that we're depositing that just so happens to be like $25,000. So it's going to even out. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Director. Wait, there may be a question, Director. Heath, do we have any questions, Director? Yes. Commissioner
Sorry,
Raxton
I
has a
asked that.
question.
Okay.
Thank
You
ma'am.
almost got away.
So thank you, and thank you for that clarification, because that was one of the questions I was going to ask in regards to the 24K, and
Yes.
if we already had that allocated to something else, but it looks like we have that covered. Yes, the only question I had in regards to the October 11th date, do we feel comfortable that that date will get pushed back when we go ahead and sign and execute all the documentation by FEMA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
I do have one question.
Commissioner Kenneth Jones, you have the floor.
Is this a grant that renews annually, or is this a one-time?
Just a one-time.
Okay, and so that $24,000 won't be a recurring cost?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. County Administrator Corbin, Dr. Corbin, you have a
No
question?
particular question for the director. Can we change the language from general fund to general appropriation?
That's correct, sir.
Clerk, you made
Yes,
a note.
I will make that change for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe there are no further questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Clerk, you have the floor.
Number 7 is approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to accept the Georgia Emergency Management Agency Formulytics Grant in the amount of $27,616 with no local match to help reduce gang violence in Douglas County, amend the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
Good morning. This is a grant I'm going to let grant writer, Ms. Susan Shahada, take over from here.
Hi, good morning. The Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency set aside $1.25 million from the fiscal year 25 budget to fund again the Gang Activity Prosecution Grant, or more commonly known as the GAP grant. The purpose is to increase successful prosecutions of criminal gang activity, and gang activity is no longer an urban problem, so the office made it available statewide to all 159 counties, but they made it to where they funded the counties in the greatest need. We were fully funded at our request of $27,616 that we will use to purchase 2 softwares. One is a continuation of our Formulytics software to bring us, to have that software through 2025, and the other one is for Clearview software, which will help our gang investigators help identify gang members in the community, all leading to the ultimate goal of increasing gang activity prosecutions. And there was no match. And do you have any questions?
Yeah. Any questions from the Board of Commissioners? I do have a question for you. You said this software would allow us to identify all the gang members here in Douglas County. What about surrounding areas in case there's some collaboration?
If we have need, yeah. Formulytics more takes care of that because the other, it's shared amongst the counties, so we get all the information from the other counties about gang activity.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Shared information. Any other questions, Board? Okay.
I do have one, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
So I'll make sure I'm clear. There's 2 pieces of software that you guys are trying to pull off, correct?
Right.
And as Madam Chair stated earlier, will this also be, I'm assuming this is being shared throughout not only just the counties, but throughout the state and federal, wherever else?
Yes, it's nationwide.
Okay, nationwide. Okay, so it's really shared throughout, not just county by county or just covering our county. It's software that will be used in a bigger picture.
Right, and it's software that most of the other counties around us and in Georgia have. So we have our own now.
Got it. But it talks to and relates to all the other counties and or state and federal guys.
The Formulytics does.
Okay.
I mean, we have to actually reach out
Right.
to other counties that, have these issues. Now, Clearview will help us identify more individuals that we can then reach out to other counties to get background on information from them.
Right.
If they have activity in that county with that same individual.
Right, because I'm assuming one tattoo, as an example,
Right.
could be a bigger picture than just Douglas Countyans.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. I yield back. I yield the
Thank
floor,
you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other questions, Board? With that being said, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Clerk. Number 8, authorization to accept the OJJDP fiscal year 24 Juvenile Drug Treatment Court Program Grant, and that number is 15P JDP-24-GG-01080-DGCT, in the amount of $730,000 with a match of $243,333.33 to be funded through the department's budget to enhance the Chance Court's service offerings and family engagement, amend the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jamie Dappermont.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We were awarded $730,000 from the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention in an effort to expand our Chance Court program. This grant will primarily fund the use of certified parent peer support specialists to help build parent engagement in our program. As we all know, for a youth to be successful, we need to be able to work with a parent and have a parent be engaged in the process. And additionally, we will be implementing a adolescent intensive outpatient substance use program, which is something that we don't currently have in our community. And then additionally, we will fund other ancillary services, things like providing medication support for families who can't afford the purchase of their mental health medications, work with mentors for our youth, and other services.
Okay, thank you so much, Jamie. Any questions, Board?
I do have.
Commissioner Kenna Jones, you have the floor.
How many providers will you guys be able to add to your service list if you are authorized to get this grant?
So we currently work with our primary grant partner on this is Recovery Unlimited. They provide the majority of our substance use services. We are going to be working with the Never Alone Clubhouse, who's going to be providing the certified parent peer support specialists, as they have 3 on staff there. It is a hard certification to find people who are certified in parent peer support, so we're lucky enough for the Never Alone Clubhouse to have 3 there.
And so with Recovery Unlimited, are you all, I guess, seeing or experiencing any type of backlog for them being able to start or initiate assessments and services?
We've had really good success working with Recovery Limited. They've been a great partner for us for several years. They've worked on just about the majority of all of our grants in regards to substance use services. They are prepared to meet the influx, I think. I will say that they've recently hired several new staff members and have been working towards creating this program on their own. So we're anxious to be able to help support that.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, and
Good morning.
looking forward to this program being implemented. So just for clarification, is the total budget 973,000 or is it the 730,000? Just so I'm clear.
So we were awarded $730,000 as the federal share.
Okay.
Our match, the $243,333, will come with salary match. So my salary will be the match over the 48-month period.
Okay, so it's not a dollar, it's more like salaries, administrative
Correct.
costs that will support the actual implementation of the $730,000
Correct.
award. Okay, great. Thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Raxton. Any other questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So that I'm clear, and I'm assuming that our county administrator or manager probably got the, may or may not know this answer, though. So this $243,000, is this going to be a one-time deal, or are we looking to kind of do this annually, or is this going to be budgeted annually? And I see it's in your budget from my understanding what I'm reading.
Correct. It's a match that comes from our salary. It's an in-kind match. So my salary serves as the match over the 4-year period. I don't know if that answers.
I think it, go ahead.
So, to rephrase that, I think as long as we're spending the money,
Okay.
we have to spend it to get it.
Got it.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're spending the money regardless because it's a part of their natural budget.
Right, and so this 243 is a 4-year span divided into 4 years, or is that, can I calculate it that way? Am I
Yes.
off in my
Correct.
math? Okay. And so after 4 years, what happens?
If we have expended all the funds, which we plan on doing, then the grant period ends after the 4-year period.
Oh, but what about the personnel side of this?
Well, the personnel were there, they're already there.
Yes, I hope to still be here in 4 years. So
Right,
yes,
God willing, he's going to be here the next.
Okay,
4 years.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
and
sir.
we're not hiring any new staff for this. So.
Right.
And that's kind of what I was alluding to make sure that we got it covered now for 4 years from what I'm reading. Is what happens after that, though.
Yeah. So yeah, we will not be including any new staff in this grant.
But I know our county manager will definitely make us plan for the future, so I'm not worried about that. So,
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other questions, board? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, you have the
Yes,
floor.
ma'am. We will move to our business items. Number 9, approval for Douglas County Sheriff's Office to add an interface between its jail management software, Central Square, and Vine in the amount of $5,739.19 for the initial setup cost and associated fees for the first year of service to be funded through the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and the Georgia Sheriff's Association, with subsequent years funded from the Sheriff's Office budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lieutenant Colonel Pounds.
Okay, Vine is the nation's leading victim notification network. It's currently used in 48 states. It allows survivors, victims of crimes, and other concerned citizens to access timely and reliable information about offenders or criminal cases in the U.S. jails and in prisons. For the cost, the interface in the first year is being financed by the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and the Georgia Sheriff's Association. There's no cost to the county or the sheriff's office for the first year. This will allow us to set up and try the service out to determine whether or not it's right for us and the community. If we choose to discontinue service, we will provide a 60-day notice prior to renewal.
Okay, thank you so much, Colonel Pounds. Any questions?
I do, Madam Chair.
So, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Lieutenant Colonel, so you said this is for the first year. What's the cost for each additional year after the first year?
I'm not certain about the cost right now. It's something that they're trying to get everyone to do in the state. And that's why the Georgia Sheriff's Association is backing it right now. Currently, we're set up for it, but we're just waiting on them to finance Central Square so that we can get up and operate it. So I can check for that additional cost if we decide to go back with it and get an email to each one of you.
Okay, I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Commissioner Kerner Jones, you have the floor.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. So the $5,739 is the cost for this year. Is that something that's already accounted for in your budget for years going forward, or would that require an increase to you all's budget to make sure that
We
you
will have
can?
to budget for it again.
So it's not currently funding
No,
that you
ma'am.
have? And then, are you expecting or anticipating that the price will be higher when it's the county's responsibility, or you don't know?
I'm not certain right now.
But you'll get that information.
Absolutely.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Madam Chair.
I love it. All right. Thank you so
Well,
much, Commissioner
hold on.
Jones. Commissioner Braxton.
Okay,
is first.
okay.
Okay, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, thank you. So the initial cost is for the 1-year maintenance and software.
Yes, sir.
And then in the contracts, it talks about a maintenance of 2 years beyond that. Do we know what that 2-year maintenance is? And will there be anything above and beyond the maintenance for the software moving forward?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll give you all that information.
Okay,
And send it all in this email.
Okay.
okay. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Braxton. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
And I guess you probably understand, but the key to all of this is that understanding what's the next cost.
Right.
And I think we got to probably, before we can kind of either move forward or whatever, right now, if we move forward, it would just only be 573.39.19, correct? If I'm hearing that correctly.
Yes.
But the unknowns is, I think, where this board is probably kind of trying to make sure of. Because I think it's a great idea, a great concept, but kind of knowing what that is, Lieutenant, what those other numbers are. So will we have this by tomorrow?
You have it by the end of the day.
By the end of today, okay. And I think once you share that with us, you can tell the sheriff, but I mean, we're all in. It's just that we want to make sure that if there are some additional costs that we may incur because of additional stuff that's needed, if we decide to move forward, then we at least know what those costs are. And then we can get this guy here to kind of make sure that we're budgeted for it. Good enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. I just have one question. Mine is easy. What is VINE, the acronym VINE? You said it
You know,
earlier.
I
Victim-
actually just tried to look Vine up, and I could not find what the acronym stood for.
Oh.
It's victim
All right.
information.
I thought you said victims.
Notification.
Okay.
It's a victim notification,
Oh, it's,
but,
okay. Okay,
but I'm not sure what the acronym stands for.
okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Pounds. Great job. You had something? Okay. Clerk, you have the
Okay.
floor.
Number 10 is approval for the Douglas County Fire Department to purchase a 2010 Ford F-250 Super Duty truck from Connect Douglas in the market value of $9,345 to be funded by the fire department's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, County Administration. We've been given the opportunity to purchase a Super Duty truck from Connect Douglas to be added to our fleet, and we're just looking for the approval for the purchase.
Okay. Any questions for Commissioner Braxton? You have the floor.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Chief. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir.
Good. Just curious of the usage of the vehicle, and then in regards to the year and mileage, do we have, as far as the mileage, do we think, and what do we estimate from a longevity standpoint for the vehicle?
So right now, I believe we have some adequate mileage on the vehicle that will be suitable for our use. It's been relayed to me that the vehicle is in pretty much perfect shape. So there's not a whole lot of usage on that vehicle, and we have a lot of got big plans to use that vehicle for a plethora of things that we need in the department. I don't have the actual mileage
Okay.
of the vehicle.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Okay. All right, Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Any other questions for it? All right. Clerk, you have the floor.
Thank you. Number 11 is approval to enter into a clinical agreement between the Douglas County Fire Department in the city of Forest Park, Georgia, to provide related instruction and practice as a part of the emergency medical training programs with no impact to the fire department budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
In an effort to improve our EMT training program, we are asking to enter a clinical agreement with the city of Forest Park that will allow us to provide third rides and clinicals for our EMT students and vice versa.
Okay, any questions, board? All right,
Okay.
clerk?
Yes, number 12 is approval of a memorandum of understanding between the West Georgia Regional Library System, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, and the American Heart Association with no cost to the county to provide access to blood pressure home monitoring kits for patron checkout at our Douglas County Public Libraries, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Lindy Moore.
Good morning. Yes, this is a program that was funded through the American Heart Association. They received a grant to provide at-home educational training for blood pressure monitoring. This is not to serve as a diagnosis, just an educational tool. No cost to the county. What they will provide are little plastic boxes with the blood pressure monitoring cuffs and some educational materials, and those will check out most likely for 2 weeks, but either 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And that's just for at-home monitoring, and they will, when they come in, after they've used the devices, we will be able to provide additional resources if needed.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Moore. Any questions? All right.
I got one, Madam Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Make sure I'm reading this right. So you just go to the library and check this out, I guess, or something? Am I?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly how many kits that each library will receive, but
Okay.
it'll be like in a little box with all of the blood pressure cuff and all of the information, and you'll check out the kit and take it home. There's information on how to track your blood pressure, when's the best time to take it, how to track it over the 2-week period, and then additional resources if that's needed.
And I'm assuming there's a process of how long you check out the book or the blood pressure.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll most likely be checking them out for 2 weeks. The documentation suggests between 2 weeks and 4 weeks. So once this is signed, we'll work with the West Georgia Regional Library System to catalog everything and get those circulated. Currently, Fulton and Cobb are circulating them now.
Okay.
So we're not the first for the program, but it'll be great for us.
And what was the data on their end? How did it work? Any issues?
They've just
because I know when I was
started-
checking out books when I was a young kid,
Right.
I didn't return it on time. I didn't do the proper things, and I just want to make sure that how
Right.
this process will work.
Those are all things we'll have to work with the regional library system to determine any overdue fines. It'll be probably similar to like a hotspot or a laptop that we currently check out.
Mhm.
We have several other kinds of kits and things that we check out. So there'll be small overdue fees for that most likely. But since the devices are not costing us anything, it would be a very small
Right.
overdue fee.
How did Fulton County? What kind of things like that did they run into with those kind of
They
unique
just
situations?
started at the end July, August, so we'll reach out to them and get some of their data. When we first were approached by this, Fulton had just started their system, so I'll reach out to them and get some data from them.
Okay, that's interesting. Though. Okay, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good problem to have in letting those who want to keep up with their blood pressure and checking those types of things, though. But I was just kind of looking for the unknowns, possibility of the unknown. So
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Director Moore, I have a question regarding
Yes.
the blood pressure monitoring kits
Yes.
that are being taken home. So you said there will be some training provided in advance for those citizens that are taking them, so they could understand diastolic and systolic pressure measures, so
Yes,
they won't panic.
and I believe it was in some of the documentation that you might have received in advance. It's all of the documentation of what's low pressure, what's a good, what's how to take it, just some basic training, and staff will be receiving training as well. So we're not just here's a kit, have fun. We'll be able to provide a little bit of basic information to the patrons.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no, Commissioner Kenneth Jones, you have the floor.
This may be outside of this particular agenda item, but have you all considered with this some partnership opportunities based on your proximity to the public health department for ongoing education if individuals find out after this 2-week period that they do have high blood pressure but maybe don't have a primary care physician or don't know where to go to get those services, some type of referral or assistance that they can get?
Yes, that'll be part of our training. The American Heart Association has told us that when patrons come back, they have reported to us that would like some additional information. Maybe they measured it a little high. We will have some resources to refer them for low cost further examination.
Thank you. I yield back.
You good? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Director.
Okay. Number 13, approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority and Connect Douglas for an automated fare collection system with no cost to the county, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ron Roberts.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, citizens, admin. I don't know if you can see this. This is over a year ago. There were some lapsing funds at ATL, and FTA and ATL discussed what they could do with those funds. So they went through a process October of last year where they were looking at some innovations in transportation in it, which is basically these the next generation for fare collections that allows for the use of cell phones and smartphones and cash and just every possible way that an individual could pay a fare on the buses. Now, what they had decided to do was to purchase these for the entities that are in the Atlanta region. So that includes us, all except MARTA. MARTA's buying their own. But these would be the same fare boxes that MARTA's getting, the same fare boxes in every transit entity around the region. Their goal is to get this MOU in place, and then we would be looking at putting these in the new vehicles that we just ordered. What happened?
Nothing, keep going.
Oh, okay. You throwing me off. Thank you. So yes, we already have connections with the new routes to the MARTA 71 and 73. We're looking at other future routes, into Cobb and Fulton. This would also help our citizens for seamless transfers. I'll give you an idea of what these actually look like real quick. Oh, there we go. Like I said, the vehicles that we just ordered, which will take about 6 months. I think they'll be here probably first of the year. We've already met with the manufacturer to make sure that they include space for these fare collection boxes. The back end of these units is also that the region would also be supplying Connect Douglas with a vault system at our facility. And I think, I said, I got sidelined on the timeline, but they want these in place by the World Cup in 26. So they're moving pretty fast to get the MOU in and things of that nature. But we actually did write a grant for fare boxes. It was $250,000 that we put in a grant. Now we can reallocate those resources towards something else. So that's a little bit about it. If you have any questions, that's really what the MOU is. I believe I had the opportunity to speak with some of y'all at the September Saturday, so I kind of laid the groundwork a little bit on this one.
Okay. Thank you so much, Director Roberts. Any questions, Board? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is great. So just a quick question, just in regards to ongoing maintenance and who would be responsible for that?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. They would be ours. They're going to give them to us. We're going to install them, and then it's up to us to maintain them. And that includes the vault system, sir. So the vault system that they would also give when we figure out what that's going to look like, that would be included. It'd be ours to maintain.
Okay. So at some point then you'll be able to come back and kind of give us an idea from a yearly perspective what that maintenance cost could be. That would be maybe on the budget that we need to consider.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Commissioner, any other questions? Clerk, you have the floor.
Number 14 is approval of a contract extension with Transitions Commute Solutions LLC, third-party operator for fixed route and paratransit services for November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025, with no change to the current cost of $18,750 per month to be funded through Connect Douglas's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ron Roberts.
Yes, ma'am. And so we went out for an RFP earlier this year, and then there was an entity selected. They backed out at the last minute in the contract phase. We then submitted again and have gone through this process. Our system's just not big enough to get a lot of interest for bids from the TransDev or the other types of group. We're kind of small, and none of the ones that the only entity that had NTD fixed route experience, things that we really needed to see from the applications, was the only one was Transitions. They have been a part of Connect Douglas since the beginning. This was their first fixed route operations was here. So in effect, we've worked with them for a number of years and watched staff change and watched their new direction. And we think that based on, after a lot of internal conversations, we just really want to see what you guys want to see from transit going forward. We know that they are a known entity, and we want to just extend this contract because we have some things that are coming up at the end of the year. We have a triennial, which is about a 6-7 week long audit process of the last 3 years. That's going to take a lot of focus, and just really don't want to retrain another group to handle our fixed route and our reporting and things like that. There's been a lot of improvements that we have seen from them. We have brought them in-house. They used to be in a house downtown. Now we are in close proximity with their staff on a regular, daily basis. And we've seen a direction and improvement. But just based on some of the pending challenges that our department is facing, this makes the most sense to us, and we hope that we can just extend that until we can figure out, what else we might want to add in the future, such as dial-a-ride or other types of services, and then, regenerate another RFP and maybe get some more competitive bids. And I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Roberts. Any questions for Commissioner Mitchell? You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to go back to, I apologize for item number 13, but it's in relations to this, though. How many boxes that you're speaking of, and how many and where are we looking at these boxes first? Then I'll get to my other question.
Let's see. So we have 17 vehicles in the fleet, and so
So they'll be on the vehicles then?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you would get in and pay your
Absolutely.
fare.
Okay.
You would be able to swipe your phone, or if you had a card and you were transitioning to another agency like Cobb or MARTA, then that would allow that.
And the phone would be my transfer and so on, because it'll register in my phone.
That's correct.
Using that as an example of some sort. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And in fact, in point of fact, there were some really good case examples where these units had been utilized previously. I don't know if you caught that from the slideshow, but Portland and several other large properties. And the interesting thing that I looked at from those were where those locations were and what other type services were getting into those larger services. Because that would be our experience.
Right.
We're a small service getting into a larger service. Where were their hang-ups? And so far, I haven't really come across anything that was a negative of note. It seems like it's a system that seems to work pretty good and has some real data live experience around the country.
And with the real data that you know of, you don't know of any potential costs, maintenance costs, as Commissioner Raxton just spoke of.
No, so it's worth, we do have a lot of time to look into that, and I'll definitely would explore that, but I can't foresee there being, I didn't come across any red flags in what I was looking at.
Okay, if you would though. And the third party on item 14, back to 14. So I guess this is a specialty layout because you haven't got any other bids on this, correct? I'm assuming, you know.
We had some other bids and.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Commissioner, we did, but they were software entities, or they were like one of them was kind of like a taxi service. These don't really lend themselves to the reporting components that we would need for FTA for that things that are required for NTD reporting, National Transit Data reporting, and then other regulations that pertain specifically to the 1991 ADA paratransit laws and things that were put in place and things that exist for transit. So a lot of these firms just didn't have that, or that wasn't even included. So
so you recommended that we stay with what we got, extend it, in hopes that you could find potentially some others that's out in the field.
And yes, sir, that is my recommendation, and hope that you'll do that. And also, during this time frame, I think, I'll open myself up to any discussions that you may have about, future directions and things that we might want to put in future RFP that would include the enhancement and direction of new service and new service potentials for the citizens of Douglas.
Okay. So you'll have conversation what you've had with me. I can't speak for the other commissioners, but to kind of see what are the next steps. What do we see in the future with this transit layout? So
100%, yes, sir.
Okay. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Okay, thank you so much, Director Roberts.
Okay, thank you.
Clerk, you have the floor.
Okay. We'll move to item number 15, approval to enter into a software services agreement with Just FOIA in the amount of $17,428.50 for the first year to be funded by the ARPA Technology Fund, and a cost of $11,286.84 a year for the subsequent years for open record software, and authorize the chairman to sign all documents pending final legal review. Elliot Buggs is here.
Good morning. How you doing? Commissioners, administration. We're coming to ask for approval for this software for the records department so they can better facilitate their job duties. The first year is probably about $17,000 to get it started. Then every year after that, come out of the ARPA fund. Every year after that would come out of the records budget, about $11,000 after that. Any questions you got for it? We have the SME, Mrs. Aubrey Britt. Anytime.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Good
morning.
Good.
You have questions for me?
Okay, any questions, Board of Commissioners, regarding the software? Commissioner Kenneth Jones, you have the floor.
The $11,286, is that already in the records department's budget, or is that an increase that you would be asking for each year?
It would be an increase that we would need to add into our budget for subsequent years.
And what deficit have you identified in our current records keeping that would necessitate us to take on that cost?
So about 5 years ago, our average open records request count per month was about 75 requests a month. Now we're at about 236. We have to save every single email by hand. We save over 2,000 emails a month just to keep up with the open record software. It's not sustainable in our current function. So having the open record software, it would automatically catalog all the email correspondence and would allow us to keep track of it through that system.
And would this require us to then also pay for extra storage space, like on a cloud or something like that, to be able to handle those?
So this, the software actually includes the storage space. Right now, when we have larger format files, we have to share it through our OneDrive system. So that would actually allow us a format and a way to send and store open records documentation, media, such, through that system that is included in the price.
And is this service being used in any of the other metro counties, or is this unique to
Yes,
Douglas?
so it is also, they are part of a collaborative, part of the Omni Group. It is a popular open record software. We have collaborated with a number of different open record software vendors. To me, they have the best cost to benefit ratio. We met with them at the Nagara conference and at the GRA conference earlier this month. So yes, they are a commonly used open record software.
And would this, I guess, reduce the amount of time to get open records requests answered and the documents over to people, or will that process stay the same?
That is my sincere hope. One of the functions that it does allow is it will automatically generate a reminder to any departments so that they will be aware that that deadline is coming up. Right now, we just have to manually reach out to them, and that creates another email that we have to manually save. So the open record software will kind of streamline that workflow for us.
And then my last question is, with this, I'm trying to make sure that it makes sense. How many other entities did you all send this out to bid for, and how many
So they're
responded?
part of a collaborative, so we didn't have to send it out to bid, but we did coordinate also with another company called Granicus. They were non-responsive. They initially responded when we thought we were going to have to get bids, and then when we asked them if they were part of a collaborative, we never heard back from them, which is not quite the response we hoped for. We really need our partners to be responsive, and the people that we've been working with at Just For You have been really fantastic.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Madam Chair. I yield.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just curious in regards to subsequent years, how many years do we have in mind that we'll be utilizing the software?
It would be my hope that it would be permanent. I don't anticipate our open records request to see a significant decline as our population continues to grow. So having the open records software as a continuing software that would help us to streamline the process would be a benefit overall.
Okay. And then the 11,000 per year, does that also include maintenance?
It does. It includes maintenance and support. And I will also point out that it allows us the opportunity to offer the same services to the Sheriff's Office, E911, and our District Attorney's Office. We've coordinated with them a little bit just to see if what their interest level would be. I know that they've done demos. I believe E911 and the Sheriff's Office, well, I know the Sheriff's Office did a demo a few years ago. This is a software that we've been requesting for about 5 years now. This opportunity to fund it through ARPA is a great thing for us, but they've all been kind of looking for open record software. I recently spoke with our E911 department. They've also received a large increase in the number of requests and have told me that they're also struggling with keeping up with the responses, doing the billing, keep maintaining all of the records that are required to be kept.
Okay. So would there be an opportunity for additional subscribers under our agreement for Douglas County?
So right now it's built in to have those 4 departments as an option. Yes, we could add additional departments. Right now, the records department processes all administrative requests. Any judiciary requests are done completely separate because they're not quite under open records law. The Sheriff's Office, E911, and the District Attorney's Office also process requests independently of the records department. I coordinated with them specifically because I know I've received requests related to their records, so I kind of reached out to them to gauge their interest level. The Solicitor's Office may also receive open records requests. I just haven't seen them come through my office specifically for the Solicitor's Office, but yes, long story short, we could add at a later date if we wanted to add additional licenses.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Okay, so you've already answered a bunch of my questions. Thanks, Commissioner Raxton, for asking those questions because you answered them. But efficiency, this is obviously about efficiency. How many, just so our citizens know, how many people are in your department?
2.
2.
Yes.
Handling all these open records requests.
Yes. So right now, I have myself and my deputy records administrator. She basically handles all of the records side of things because we store all the administrative and judicial records for the county. And then I do all the open records side. She will come and get records. We'll image them and process them on our side. But we have been also asking for additional personnel. It is a large, there's a large number of requests that we receive, not only for the open record side, but also for the the storage and destruction side.
Okay. And also, I thank you for coming forward with this, with the additional cost of what it's going to be per year, because that's very important for everybody who comes before us. If you're going to come and ask us to approve something, you know, a couple of times we got called on the back end for not knowing, and then we approve something, the next thing you know, it's a dramatic cost for us every year, and we got to budget it. So I just ask all departments to, when you come prepare something for us, please have that information for us, because it's critical for us to know that when we're asking these questions. But thank you. I just wanted to
No
make sure
problem.
that's pointed
I
out.
will just put one little point of clarity to your point there. The 11,286 per year after the initial implementation, there's a 5% increase on that each year. So just in the interest of full transparency, there
Yes,
is,
please.
it does adjust.
Thank you for that. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Commissioner Mitchell, you have the
Yes.
floor.
And I'm just going to open the floor quickly for our county administrator to kind of update, to kind of give us an idea of how this relates to the budget side of things, if you would.
Well, it's currently not, but if I'm, please correct me, Mr. CFO, it's currently not budget, is that correct?
You are correct. It's currently not in the budget.
So this is a 2025 item, notwithstanding the ARPA amount, we would have to make this adjustment in the 2025 budget, for
That's
which we
correct.
have not done yet.
Correct.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, we kind of putting the cart before the horse, so we need to kind of either hold off on this or,
I agree.
yeah, and wait before, oh, sure.
So sorry.
I didn't see your hand.
So it was a PATSI that I did include in my 2025 budget request. The ARPA funding would cover the first year. The PATSI would cover the residual years after 2025.
No, sir, no. It hasn't been approved yet.
Correct. The PACS is a request.
It's a
It hasn't-
2025 budget request that has not been approved.
Correct.
Okay, so now I'm confused.
I'm so
What-
sorry.
Not you though, no. I'm with staff, so staff, can you kind of?
There are items that
Okay.
have been presented by all parties for the 2025 budget that have not been approved,
Got it.
either by the administration for recommendation to you, or you have not approved them as a budget item yet.
Got it.
I'm going to ask the CFO, if he defer to CFO to
Okay.
clarify.
Correct. And because it was indicated just now that it's in a PACSI, that's just another way of saying it's not part of the baseline proposed 2025 budget. So it needs additional identification of funding and approval above and beyond what we're going to propose to you all for 2025.
Thank you, sir. But I'll go back to, so the recommendation would be to hold off on this item, and I don't know how that would affect what you're trying to do, or is timing of the essence here, or I'm going to defer to
My
my.
recommendation is to hold the item until we get clarification.
And I would defer to my county administrator to say that's, and how would that affect what you're trying to pull off? Would that?
So we have been requesting the software for about 5 years. The increased
Okay.
need for the software is not going to diminish. Our ability to maintain and keep up with all of the required timelines to respond to a request, as well as saving all of the documentation, is going to decrease
Understood.
as the number of requests increase. The ARPA funding is an excellent time to implement it at the least cost effect for us.
Right.
But I also defer to you
And
guys.
see, that's what I was going to say, with the ARPA funding, is there a timeline to that, to those funds that would create a bigger issue?
My understanding is that the ARPA funds have to be encumbered by the end of this year.
Oh, so we still have time then, if I'm hearing you correctly, so, okay, well, I think I'll defer to my county administrator and, you know, kind of pause until we can kind of get all the documentation together on this here item, and so that way we can make sure what we're doing, we can afford, and that it's accounted for in the budget and all that good stuff. So outside of that, I'll yield, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Mitchell. Any other comments?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, Vice Chair, you have the floor.
Yep. No, I appreciate the dialogue here, but we're looking at jumping up in regards to the open record request, what we've been seeing in the past few years. The department has obviously taken on a little bit of a burden. $11,000 for efficiency, I really don't see too much where we're looking at, you know, any type of holding off on this. I would rather go ahead and see this implemented, because it's either this, or we could add another person to that staff, and that cost would be significantly more than this. So you know, I would just like to just make that comment, and I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair.
And I'd like to just comment, and I think he's absolutely correct, District 4, but however, I'm only just trying to make sure that we account for it, not the amount that I'm overly concerned about, not the amount, but just make sure that we're accounting for everything that we got in the budget and knowing what that number is before we get there. However, and it's not a lot of money, I agree. It's not a lot to account for, but it's still a number that we don't know. You're saying every year is 5% that we got to account for now than to wait later. But I'm with you. It's not a lot of money, but if this board decides to move forward with it, I can live with that. However, just the order of business would be to make sure that our staff got the numbers, they're in the budget, and we get ready to go in the budget cycle here in the next.
We are in the budget cycle right now.
See, so I think we can account for it. I don't think it would take weeks or months to kind of get there. It's just more or less accounting for those dollars.
It's a combination of a couple of things, if I may, Madam Chair. We've got a number of departments that have made requests in the 25 budget.
Correct.
Some things do have ties in 24 that if you start, but they become unfunded mandates for us in 2025.
Got it.
Right, so you automatically increase the 25 budget, perhaps beyond what our numbers are showing, by approving things in 24. So it's not so much the dollar amount, it's looking at, stepping back and looking at in totality at this point in time. And we're trying to guard against, if we sound guarded, it's because we're trying to figure all of that out at the same time.
So the holistic approach is what we're speaking
Correct.
of, not the amount. It's not the
Right.
amount of a concern. I think what we're trying to do is absolutely right on point. We should. So that's the only, that would be my thoughts, and I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, any other questions?
Just an observation, Madam Chair, if we could make sure that the link to the agenda item is fixed, because we can't pull the actual packet to be able to review her detailed
Okay.
report.
Clerk?
Yes, ma'am, I'll make sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so I'm just trying to gain some clarification. Are we going to remove it temporarily or just?
That would be my assessment to it.
Yeah, and it just sounds like it's just a matter of weeks because they need a little more time to make some adjustments in the budget, and that should be palatable for all of us. So we can make sure your numbers, and we can increase the 5%. The 5% you said it will increase year out there. So the ARPA funding is not a problem. That's sitting there, right? So that's good, right?
Yeah, but it's sort of like the SAFER grants. It's, we accept the grant, but then what's the responsibility that tags us going forward, right? We've got more than just one department that's making a request like that,
Right.
that we're now taking into consideration. But I'm committed to making sure that, one, we evaluate it, and two, that it's done in the appropriate timeline.
Okay. In response to what just been said, I'll just clarify. The answer is not no, but we just need a little more time so we can make some adjustments from the accounting perspective to make sure everything is correct. Is that correct, CFO?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Was that well stated? So if you understand, the answer is not no, but we will certainly, and Vice Chair, you mentioned that would replace staffing, but I believe I heard that you said you needed additional staffing.
So we actually did request a full-time position. We did actually lose a part-time position this year, so that funding amount is taken out of our budget for 2025. But yes, we did also request additional staffing.
Okay?
Right.
All right.
Right.
Well,
No.
did you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay.
We just kind of see what the final ruling of where we're going to go.
Okay. So Director, we're going to remove this for tomorrow, but the answer is not no. We just need a little more time to work on the accounting portion.
Sure. If
Okay.
there's anything you guys need from me, just let me know, please.
Okay, it's a great idea. I love it because I can imagine the number. You said you received 236 requests daily?
No, last month.
monthly.
And that's just for the records department. I'm not entirely sure what the open records count is for the sheriff's office, E911, and the district attorney's office, but I know that they've also been inundated with requests.
Yes, so this definitely would benefit not only you, but the other parties as well, your other partners. Okay, thank you. Clerk, if we could just remove this temporarily from the agenda
Yes,
tomorrow.
ma'am.
Thank you. We're going to move on. Clerk, tab number
Okay.
16.
Number 16 is the preliminary plat approval for Post Oak Downs. Allison Duncan is here to present.
Sorry. All right. Okay. Good morning, Madam Chair. Board of Commissioners, I actually have 3 plats for you today. So the first one is for Post Oak Downs. This is a 15-lot residential subdivision. It's located on about 25 acres. It's on Post Road. This is going to be in District 4. There are some areas of this plat that don't squarely align with the Unified Development Code. Under the Unified Development Code, we can bring you a plat with a recommendation to approve, a recommendation to approve with conditions, or a recommendation to deny. In this instance, we are bringing this to you with a recommendation to approve with conditions. I'm going to briefly go through those conditions. I can address the conditions in regard to the fire concerns or the environmental health concerns. Director Rana can address the conditions in regard to the transportation improvements, and I believe the applicant would also like to speak in regard to some of the conditions that are proposed by staff, if it is the will of the board to hear that. So in regard to this subdivision, as I said, 15 lots on Post Road. The first condition we are proposing is that the site distance requirement at the intersection of the proposed Hillstone Drive and Post Road needs to be provided in the construction plans. The second condition is in regard to sidewalk, curb, gutter, and underground drainage structures must be provided along the entire property frontage along Post Road, or payment into the sidewalk fund shall be accepted. If payment into the sidewalk fund is preferred, a note on the preliminary plat must be provided stating that the developer shall pay into the sidewalk fund, which is not depicted here. Number 3 gets into some questions about access easements. So for that, I'm going to jump back here so you can have the plat in front of you. This is going to get a little tricky, but I just want to get these on the record. So access easements may serve only one single-family residence that shares a common driveway with one other single-family residence if both meet the minimum requirements of the UDC. There's a hammerhead-shaped 20-foot private drive to the west that intends to serve 5 lots and a cul-de-sac, a 20-foot private drive to the east that intends to serve 4 lots. So the proposed driveways, along with the notes on the access drive, shall be shown, including these notes. So lots 9 and 10 must access their property via Hillstone Drive with the property frontage that connects to the public street. The driveway shall be shown on the plat. There shall be no access to the 20-foot shared driveway between lots 7 and 10. Lots 11 and 12 must access their property via a 20-foot shared driveway. The driveway shall be shown on the plat. There shall be no access to Post Road for these lots. And then lots 13 and 14 must access their property via the proposed 20-foot shared drive. The driveway shall be shown on the plat. There shall be no access to Post Road for these lots. And then lots 15 must access their property via Hillstone Drive within the property frontage that connects to the public street. The driveway shall be shown on the plat. There shall be no access to the 20-foot shared driveway between lots 6 and 15. There shall be no access to Post Road for this lot. And then the driveway for the outparcel below lot number 13 shall be relocated to exit onto Post using the limits of the property frontage. There is one other transportation, those are the transportation conditions that we wanted to share with you in regard to that. Specifically, the plat as shown is not correctly addressing the requirements of the UDC in regard to the site distance requirements, the sidewalk, curb, gutter, and underground drainage structure requirements, and then the number of lots that can access public road versus a private easement. All right, so I still have 4 other conditions that I'll share with you here. These get into some of the conditions that were expressed by our fire department. Let me go forward to that. So number 4, the private cul-de-sac to the south of the proposed Hillstone Drive does not meet the International Fire Code. So no final plat shall be granted until the site plan is in compliance with the International Fire Code. Number 5, all proposed structures must meet the requirement of the 500-foot fire hydrant distance per the Douglas County Code of Ordinances. And number 6, all lots shall provide and maintain adequate access for all emergency service personnel, equipment, and apparatus at all times. And again, Chief Allen is aware of these conditions, and he can speak to any of those if there are questions. And then number 7 is no final plat approval shall be given until the Environmental Health Department has reviewed and approved each lot for on-site septic. So I know that's a lot. What I might suggest is if you would like to hear from the applicant in regard to some of their concerns about these conditions, it may be appropriate time to do that, and then staff is available to answer any other questions if acceptable to the board?
Board, would you like to say? Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. All
Morning.
right. Good
Jeff Fowler,
morning.
Post Office Box 49, Douglasville. Thank you for hearing for us on this. Jeff Camp is the developer. Jeff, if you'd raise your hand. Jeff has been in the county his entire life. This property has been in his family for over 100 years. Also with him to his right is Michael Forlaw, left as you're looking. Michael Forlaw, who's the engineer that designed this. We appreciate, as always, working with Allison on these projects. Just a couple of responses, and I will go condition by condition, but I'm going to come back to the plat. And I provided a plat that's got the numbers that you can see sort of faintly along the top. Thank you, Allison. And you can see that lots 1 through 5 along the top run as you're seeing it right to left. And then you'll see the other lots sprinkled down. That's going to be important for some reasons that deal with the questions of access. So just going through the 7 conditions. The first one is acceptable. No problems with that. The second dealt with sidewalk, curb guttering, and underground drainage structures. This property is south of Highway 166 on Post Road, about a quarter of a mile down on the right. He requests a waiver of the curbing, guttering, sidewalk, street light, and road widening requirement, if any, in keeping with a variance that he had filed here with the county back in June. He also requests relief from paying into the sidewalk fund. You'll see that as a part of the recommendation from the county. That would require a payment of roughly $37,500, which represents 100% cost of the labor and materials for the sidewalks along the entire frontage. So in keeping with the variance request, he is asking that this condition not be required with respect to this plat approval. Next, with respect to the access issues that deal with condition number 3, first, if you'll notice where lots 9 and 10 are, on the sort of lower left-hand side on the plat that you have before you, they have access through what's called a hammerhead access driveway that comes south from Hillstone Road. That will be the paved road that's got the cul-de-sac. The staff has recommended that 9 and 10 have access coming from Hillstone Drive. We request that we simply have access from that access drive. There are 4 lots that will access that hammerhead access road. Lots 9, 10, and 11, and 12 would have that access. Now, with respect to Part B, lots 11 and 12, the county has requested have access by the shared drive. That, of course, obviously is acceptable. With respect to C, lots 13 and 14, now we're back toward Post Road, have access on the access road. That also is acceptable. D, that is the lot 15, access to property via Hillstone within their property. That is acceptable. E, the driveway for the out parcel, that is lot 13, it's the far southeast corner, or close toward the southeast corner. That will be a driveway that is directly onto Post Road. Now, that's kind of confusing. I'm sorry, it would be good if we were just sitting. I put the numbers bigger so that you can see it. But essentially where we are with respect to all of these, I know it's difficult to figure it out. We ask that lots 9 and 10, I'm going back to A for a moment. Lots 9 and 10 have access through the access easement that's shown coming south from Hillstone Drive. That would be permitted, we believe, under Section 1011C of the UDC because these are otherwise acceptable and buildable lots. They fit within the section of the code. Mr. Forlaw can address that in more detail if you're interested in it. So we would request that you not require us to comply with condition 3A. 3B is acceptable, 3C is acceptable, and 3D is acceptable, as is 3E. So, let me just indicate, conditions 2 and 3A, we ask you not to require that. Now, number 4, it's a public health safety issue. We have met with the fire department. We've confirmed that the cul-de-sac does meet the requirements of the Douglas County UDC. Because it does, we were told by the fire department in the conversation with them that that requirement would not be necessary. That is, condition number 4 would not be required. Between now and tomorrow, you may want to get a confirmation of that. But when we received these conditions last week, we immediately began to undertake with the fire department about that. Condition number 5, in our discussion with the fire department about access within 500 feet to a fire hydrant, we will stipulate that we will have that done. We will bring a fire line south from Hillside Drive, that's the one in blue, going south down that Hammerhead access drive for a distance sufficient so that we can have the 500-foot access. 6 and 7 are both acceptable. Now, this reminds me of when I took the LSAT to get into law school. I understood about half of it. It's fortunately passed. We'd be glad to meet with staff further, but that essentially is our response. We would ask you to approve the preliminary plat. Condition number 1 is acceptable. We ask you to waive number 2. 3A, we ask you not to require that, but B, C, D, and E are acceptable. We believe we comply with number 4, that it meets the county's requirement under the UDC. On number 5, which is important, we will put in that fire line. 6 and 7 are acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Fowler. Fire Chief, if you could just come up for just a second and echo, confirm those conditions with regard to the fire and safety component. You know, you said the fire department approved, according to our Attorney Fowler. Said you all approved
So
many
I
of the
haven't.
conditions.
I'm
You didn't
sorry.
have a time. Can you help me?
Yes, ma'am. So I haven't had the opportunity to speak to the fire marshal on this particular issue. However, if given the opportunity, I'll reach out to him and get you an answer as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Board? Fire Chief?
Yes, Madam Chair.
I see all kinds of hands. Vice Chair.
Not for you, Chief. The engineer. All right, so I'm just going to be brief. So looking at this layout, when we're talking about this hammerhead here, and if I'm looking at all the lines, it looks like there's a fall off on the backside of this property. Am I correct? It's like a slope going across at an angle across the property?
Yes, that's correct.
So in other words, to acquire all these lots here, that hammerhead drive is I can see how necessary that is, because if you come in from any other direction, we're going to have multiple accesses out to Post Road, correct?
Yes, and multiple creek crossings, trying to minimize that as well.
Okay, yeah, I see that. I see that. Okay, and Jeff, if you would step up with the engineer real quick, please. Just got a quick question. I know when we first started looking at this, the concept was for this to be more of like a rural feel of owning your own lot instead of being a full-fledged subdivision. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay. I understand this and I see it. I understand what you're planning on doing, and that's a rural part of the county. One thing we have talked about that Alice and I and the group has sat down and talked about is relooking at our UDC, because here on Post Road, my only concern is the sidewalks to nowhere. We got sidewalks out there, and you look at them and go, for what? I mean, it's a different part of the county. I understand it in our other communities or other sections of our county where there's more high density, but the connectivity to where this is and the other lots and houses that are around it, I just don't see the purpose in the sidewalks to nowhere. So I just, I'm going to yield the floor and hear from other commissioners, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Commissioner Jones. Kenner Jones. I flipped it, I'm so sorry.
Kind of on Commissioner Alcaraz's point about the sidewalks, what's the next closest, I guess, public use or public access point that the sidewalks would be going to, or what would the benefit be?
Maybe the schools on Highway 166, possibly St. Andrews, which is a couple of miles south. And I don't,
Is there a lot of foot traffic in that area to those locations, or?
no. It's very rural.
Okay. And then, so for lots 9 and 10, is there some kind of like character feel or access that's why you don't want another street going towards that access? I guess what's the rationale behind not wanting to comply with that provision?
So we're trying to only do one creek crossing there, try to minimize the impact.
And I'm so sorry, but I have bad eyesight anyway. Where exactly is the creek crossing going to be? Is it closer to the number 10 on the bigger drawing, or is it the hash mark that's closer to 8?
It's kind of this, closer to 8 there in that, what I would call the southeast corner of 8. You can see where a pipe goes under the street, or under the drive there, rather. But that's the creek crossing.
And then, and forgive me, but where is the access for lots 11 and 12 on this map? Where are they accessing their property from?
And I'm sorry, my sight's not good either.
I guess they're the furthest south.
So,
Let me answer.
Michael,
Lots 9, 10, 11, and 12 access from the Hammerhead. Do you see the Hammerhead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the drive that crosses the creek.
Okay.
That'd be the single creek crossing.
And then
That's
you're
your
asking,
question.
I guess, for split off driveways to each of those properties from that?
They would each have a private driveway from that, but that's a shared driveway for those 4 lots.
Okay. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much,
Madam Chair.
Commissioner. Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I know that the proposed use is single-family detached housing. I was just curious as how many housing units were we looking at? Is that going to be, I'm just curious at how many units in total?
it's 15.
It's going to be 15.
15 single-family homes. yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, great. And then I guess for the fire chief, just want to confirm from just as regards to impact to our services in that community, 15 new homes. Is there going to be any significant impact or anything for us to be concerned with for servicing?
Commissioner, as I have always stated, the fire department will respond to everything and anything that we have in this county. So as far as the impact goes, we assess it as the need sees fit. So I can't say yes or no because we respond to everything.
Okay.
With the growth of the county, I mean, things happen. We got to look at what we're doing as far as our department goes. But plain and simple, we're going to respond.
Okay. All right, thank you, Chief. Madam Chair, I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. All right, Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Allison, if you would, please.
Yes, sir.
So, no questions to the applicant, but what's the process? I know it's been a while and I'm playing catch up, but what's the process of this? Because I guess my thoughts were, shouldn't we be in planning and zoning first, trying to talk about all of this before this board get access to this information and start trying to navigate something that it'll eventually go back to you guys, or am I off in the process?
Sure. So this has been through planning and zoning for several months.
Okay.
There was a mention of a variance. They did submit an application for a special exception variance. Under our code, a special exception variance only applies to, 15 or so very specific things. The type of things that they're not wanting to comply with are not things for which we can grant a special exception variance, right? So we advise them they could reapply for a hardship variance, and that application was not submitted. So you can maybe clarify with the applicant why they chose to not apply for a hardship variance. But as staff looks at the plan as presented, we don't see that there is any particular hardship involved with non-compliance with some of these requirements. We feel that it is, as the applicant has indicated, they just don't want to comply because they don't feel that it keeps with the character. So I would defer to Director Rana if he wants to speak to anything about the easement requirements or the sidewalks or the right-of-way or any of those aspects that may be deficient. But the reason it is coming to you is because under our code, we can bring you a plat with a recommendation of approval, approval with conditions, or denial. In this one, we had gone back and forth so many times that we
With the
felt like
applicant or
with
with
the
us?
conditions as presented, if you approved with
Back
the
and forth,
conditions as
Allison.
presented. I'm
Back
sorry?
and forth with the applicant?
With the applicant.
Okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
right. Okay,
Yes,
not
we
with the
won.
board?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And,
Right.
and I apologize for interrupting you, though. I'll
No
just
problem.
make sure who we're talking about here. But last, what's the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Board and you, from that perspective? What's the recommendation?
So just to clarify, plats do not go to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay.
They come directly from the technical staff. They're reviewed by our Development Review Committee, and then they come to the Board of Commissioners for the final decision. So the
Right.
recommendation is approval with the conditions, as we have enumerated in the staff report. But again, it's up to the board if they choose to take any other action, if they would like to modify the conditions as presented, take all the conditions away, or deny the plat. That's up to you. You have the final say in that.
And I just wanted this board to hear, making sure that we're all on the same page of this process. And I guess, Joe, if you would, please. So, with that being said, as you can understand, I'm a little off here, but I see now I'm playing catch up.
Yes, sir. Should have
Is there-
taken the LSAT, it's worse than this.
So help me to understand just what Allison just spoke about and kind of how we get to this point. So when this board decides, we all are on the same page as to kind of what we can or can't do after and during their, because I hear my chief is saying one thing, he's got to wait and get back with other things that's been asked here when it comes to fire and EMS. So I'm a little confused, but you know, I'm always open for understanding.
Yes, sir. The plat is before you because you have the authority to approve a preliminary plat, as was just indicated by Allison. We have worked on this for a long time. I will tell you, went through a lot of iterations, worn out a lot of pencils, and the reason was because we were trying to provide something that can get as close to a recommendation from the staff as we possibly could. And that's where we are today, with a recommendation from the staff, but with conditions. And we are respectfully requesting that certain of the conditions that the staff has listed not be required as you consider this plat. Number one is perfect. Number two, we've asked for a waiver of the curb, guttering, sidewalk, lighting, any additional right-of-way requirement, and that we likewise not be required to pay into the sidewalk fund. Condition 3A, we ask you not to impose that because those lots, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, will have access onto what we now understand to be a hammerhead access road. The other condition, that is B, C, and D, are acceptable to us. Condition 4 deals with whether or not the road complies with the International Fire Code. We've checked with the staff, or rather with the fire marshal. We believe that it does, but you'll get a confirmation about that. Number 5, we will impose a requirement or agree to impose a requirement of putting in the fire line, and then 6 and 7 are acceptable. So, to recap, 1, 3A, 3B, C, and D are acceptable. 4, we're checking on. Fire, we will comply with. 6 and 7 are acceptable. I'll send an email to Lisa this afternoon that covers all of that, with
Got
your
it.
permission.
Okay, so I think I better understand, but I want to defer to the county manager and legal. Where are we legally? And then I'll then we'll come back to this because there's a lot going on here.
It is.
Yeah.
So Allison is correct in that the plats come directly to you. What she mentioned about a hardship variance is something that she would recommend or believe to have been the proper approach for the items 2, 3A, and 4 to have gone through that route. Because of the back and forth that has occurred between staff and the applicant, and no hardship variance being filed, staff brought it directly to the board to kind of weed through what it is the board wants to do in respect to approving with conditions or not approving the preliminary plat.
Gotcha.
So legally, we're correct where we are, but there's just one but. A hardship variance would have been a more appropriate approach for the items for which Mr. Fowler listed as not wanting to comply with based on staff's recommendation on the conditions.
Okay. Anything to add? I think you did an excellent job.
No additional comment beyond support of what the staff has provided to the board at this point. I think all of the work on fire, transportation, all of that is in the packet that you have now. So I don't, again, want to make the board believe you're going to hear something different from the fire chief by the end of the day or anyone else. I think the packet and what they prepared stands where it is.
So the packet talks about the fire marshal and this whole situation as well, because I think that's what the chief talked about. Okay, hold on, Allison, want to?
Yeah, so again, all of the conditions that we enumerated are in the staff report that was submitted in regard to this. For condition number 4, it just says no final plat shall be granted until the site is in compliance with the International Fire Code. I would say that that would cover, if the fire marshal chooses to sign off, then he'll sign off, based on whatever his recommendation is. But we can still work with the fire marshal to get clarification. I was not aware of anything, the language that's in here was taken directly from the impact statement we got from the fire marshal. So if there was a conversation in the interim, it wasn't, relayed to me.
Got it. Okay. And this is Joe. No, I'm just. Outside of that, I think once I get the other information, and I guess and dissect that, but this is an interesting layout and how the board is now having to make the decision as to where we are. But hey, that's why they put us here. So I'll yield back the floor to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, board? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Allison. Appreciate you.
Okay, so we'll move to number 17 as a preliminary plat approval for the West Village at St. Andrews, Unit 2. Allison Duncan.
All right. This is also a preliminary plat approval. This is also located in District 4. This is a part of the St. Andrews subdivision. So St. Andrews actually got started back in the 70s in terms of its original entitlement, and so it's been around a minute. They have slowly but surely been making progress on building it out. You've seen several other plats that have come through recently. The last time any zoning entitlement was in front of the Board of Commissioners for consideration would have been back in 2002. And so the plat that we're bringing you here today is substantially compatible with the zoning approvals that were given back in 2002. This is a 67-lot subdivision on about 32.86 acres. And again, this is a subdivision in which staff is recommending approval. All the reviewing departments have signed off on this. So, any questions?
Okay, thank you so much, Manager. Any questions, board? All right.
Okay. We will move to number 18, preliminary plat approval for Foxhall Resort and Sporting Club, Epic Homes, Phase 1 and 2. Allison Duncan.
All right, great. So again, Foxhall is a subdivision that has been around for a minute. This is approval of a community called Stallions Ridge. So it's approximately 43 single-family detached units within Foxhall. As you may be aware, Foxhall was first approved back in 2009. They are allowed up to 833 resort residential dwelling units and about 2.3 million square feet of mixed-use resort development. They are proposing over 500 acres of total common space. And so this plat has gotten nowhere near achieving the build-out density that's contemplated for the overall project. You may recall that we had Foxhall back in front of you late last fall, like around October, this time 2023, to see about updating their zoning entitlements to give them a little bit more flexibility. This project that you're looking at here actually started under 2 zoning administrators ago, right? So this was worked on initially by Karen Tomini under phase 1, and then Phil Schaefer, and we still haven't been able to get it across the finish line. So subsequent to those, proposed zoning amendments, we had to withdraw. We've continued to work with the Water and Sewer Authority and the various reviewing departments. It's the recommendation of staff that we bring this to you guys for these 43 lots, kind of let this one move forward, and then we're continuing to negotiate any additional approvals for Foxhall subsequent to this, pending the outcome of some approvals with the Water and Sewer Authority in regard to the sewer expansion on the site, and then any modifications or amendments to the overall regulating plan, which, like I said, has been in place since 2009 and may not be keeping up with market expectations. So long-winded way of saying we're presenting this to you for 43 single-family detached lots with a recommendation of approval by all reviewing departments. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for
Madam Chair.
Vice Chair? You have the floor.
Allison,
Yes,
just
sir.
because my peers weren't here when that was brought before us, could you just explain what was changed from Foxhall in the fall?
Sure. So quite frankly, nothing was changed in the fall because they withdrew their request. We had worked to take them out of a mixed-use master plan designation, which is an older designation that was on the books in 2009. We only have about 2 or 3 of those projects that ever came in under that. It's a special use permit. It's very awkward. So we tried to transition them to a planned unit development at that time. Kind of at the last minute, there were some questions about the timing and when they needed to connect to the sewer. You may be aware that Douglas County has made $3 million of sewer infrastructure improvements in that portion of the county that was designed to support a conference center and hotel complex at Foxhall. So that has yet to be realized, and as a part of the negotiating for the zoning change that would give them a little bit more flexibility to keep with market conditions and things that have changed since 2009, some questions arose with the Water and Sewer Authority in regard to when is that sewer line going to get extended to serve the property to get a return on investment in the public funds that have been invested. So as of today, we still don't have a clear answer to that, but we continue to work with both Foxhall and the Water and Sewer Authority to resolve that. I think we're really close to it. That being said, as we've been working on this project for quite some time, this was originally brought to us as a condominium project. So the developer was basically going to sell the units, but Foxhall was going to basically keep all of the land underneath and manage all of the land underneath as one neighborhood. What they're asking to do is basically change so that these can be sold as individual lots, fee simple. They're about 2,000 square feet apiece, I think, somewhere in there. So again, smaller, but something that is acceptable under the kind of overall intent of the regulating plan that binds Foxhall. So again, staff is very comfortable recommending approval of this phase with the understanding that there will be no additional approvals given until such a time as they can sort out their concerns with the Water and Sewer Authority and bring back a modified zoning agreement to the board.
I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Vice Chair. Okay,
All right.
Clerk, thank you so much.
Okay. We will move to number 19, approval to acquire right-of-way easements for 19 parcels in the amount of $167,448 in connection with the Chapel Hill Road widening project to be funded from 2016 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Administration. Chapel Hill widening project is proposed roadway widening of Chapel Hill from West Chapel to Dorset Shoals, roughly over 1 mile. This project impacts about 48 parcels. This is our third round of acquisitions, and the subject agenda item, if approved, will complete 83% of the acquisitions required, which is 40 out of the 48 parcels. These parcels have been acquired, or the owners have agreed to sell, mostly at fair market value with very minor variations. Therefore, we're recommending your approval on all 19 of these. 2 of these 19 parcels include counteroffers from the last round of acquisitions, where when we decided to close on those parcels, the owners requested additional funds. we were able to settle that demand with about 500 each for 2 parcels. So $1,000 of this cost goes towards the last round of acquisitions, but overall completes 40 out of the 48 parcels. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Director Rana. Any questions for it? Clerk,
Okay.
you have the next one? No
Okay, number
questions?
20 is approval to accept a supplemental agreement with RS&H in the amount of $34,600 in connection with the Chapel Hill widening project to be funded from 2016 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
Thank you. Following along the same discussion, the way acquisition works for Department of Transportation is we start off with initial very minimal level of efforts into estimation to acquire the right-of-way that we can, which we have done so far, including the last agenda item. The last remaining 8 parcels will require extensive appraisal services. That means cost to cure, sign evaluations, other infrastructure that may exist on ground. This supplemental agreement gives us additional funds to perform those evaluations or appraisal services, and RS&H remains our on-call right-of-way consultant. So we're recommending your approval on this supplemental agreement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions, Board for our Director? No questions. Yield back the floor to you.
Thank you. Number 21, approval to accept a change order for the Spine Road project in the amount of $171,153.80 with the Summit Construction and Development LLC to be funded by the Douglas Ford Reinvestment Plan Phase 1, which is reimbursable by TAD, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon Rana.
Spine Road is an active construction project, which is roughly half a mile of tangent roadway off of Fairburn. This roadway will serve the movie theater and the Foxfield developments that are under construction or almost completed. This project is in final stages of construction with anticipated completion by end of next month. We're getting ready for paving the roadway segments as we speak. This change order covers various on-site adjustments that were needed throughout construction. For example, a gas main conflict on State Route 92, which required some additional grading and additional drainage structures such as catch basins, storm sewer pipes, and other elements that were required to complete the project. This will be the last change order before we head towards completion or closeout of the project. And we also seek few savings from other items that were on the contract. With that, I yield for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Board? No questions. I yield back the floor to you.
Okay.
Clerk.
Number 22 is approval to accept .20 acres of right-of-way donation from Bowmore Storage LLC with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon?
This is a self-storage development that is currently under DRC review. Upon review, DOT concluded that the development is deficient by at least 10 feet of right-of-way on their property frontage. Bowmar is a minor arterial that requires 100 feet of right-of-way, public right-of-way. This donation comes to us at no cost and ensures compliance and completion of their plan review. We're recommending your approval.
Thank you. Any questions, Board, for our Director? Okay. No questions. Yield back the floor to you, Clerk.
Okay. Number 23, approval to execute a time extension change order with the Georgia Department of Transportation in connection with the Lee Road widening project with no impact to the budget as recommended by the Transportation Committee, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon?
Lee Road is an active construction project between I-20 and Fairburn. The contract is federally funded, and the funds are authorized to county through Georgia Department of Transportation. This contract at hand allows the flow of federal funds for us to execute those dollars locally. Given the utility delays, there's a time extension that's forthcoming on the project. GDOT recognizes that and are proposing to extend the county GDOT contract by 12 months. That extends the contract to November of next year. This has no budget impacts, and we're recommending your approval.
Okay. Thank you, Director. Any questions, Board?
Okay. Number 24, approval of a supplemental agreement in the amount of $63,975.85 on the contract with Michael Baker International for design services during construction of Lee Road Phase 2 widening project to be funded from 2016 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Solomon.
Michael Baker serves as EOR, engineer of record of the project. They provide valuable services when design conflicts or other site-related issues come up, and their expertise are requested by the contractor or the county as needed. This change order, which is roughly $63,000, gives us enough hours to continue to keep them for the remainder of the project, which will take them towards end of next year, where we anticipate completion of this project. This will be a cost plus fixed fee contract, so this amount may not be used if not needed, but if needed, this will be our reserve amount to be utilized towards the consultant. We're recommending your approval for this agreement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Rana. Any questions, Paul? Okay.
Okay.
Go back to you, clerk. Thank you so much, Director.
Thank you.
Number 25, approval of an agreement with Dakin Applied Americas, Inc. for the HVAC at the Boundary Waters Aquatic Center in the amount of $1,109,197.02 to be funded through the 2022 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chad Griffin.
Actually,
and Julia Janka.
Sorry. I kind of threw her off a little bit. Actually, what I'm trying to do is present a SPOS-related information for better planning purposes. So this boundary is part of the Boundary Waters approved project of $1.5 million. That was finalized and approved back in February of this year. Currently, this is part of the $1,109,197.02 plus the following project of $16,802 with United Pools. Both of them add up to $1,125,999.02, leaving approximately $374,000 for the final renovations. These are two parts of a project for a total project budget. Chad is here to answer any specific questions to the details of the project.
Okay. Any questions, board?
I do.
Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You mentioned another number outside of the 1.1.
Yes, sir. That's the next line item.
Yes.
Oh.
It's the next one. Those are both projects. 25 and 26 go together under the Boundary Waters project.
Oh, got you.
So what I'm trying to do is give you a total picture of a budget
Right.
as you approve the items within the agenda.
Okay. Because I kept hearing this other number I was just trying to find. Okay.
Yeah.
But we've had a conversation about the whole project, so I mean, I'm okay with the project. I mean, just information, I mean, for all of us, basically. So thank you. I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. All right.
Okay.
Clerk?
We'll move to number 26, is approval of an agreement with United Pool for redesign of locker rooms and pool deck at the Boundary Waters Aquatic Center in the amount of $16,802 to be funded through 2022 SPOS funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Any questions? Well, you have the floor first, and then.
Okay,
Okay.
this is just a redesign of the pool deck, a new tile, new resurfacing, new locker rooms. It'll be a complete job for the locker rooms, and new lighting for the pool.
Thank you so much, Director Griffin. Any questions for,
And we do have $374,000 set aside for that part.
yeah, I made a note of that. Okay, any other questions, board? All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you, Director.
Number 27 is approval of a memorandum of understanding with New Mountain Top Baptist Church for use of their Life Center to be utilized by Douglas Senior Services 2 days per week to provide congregate meals, social, recreational, and educational activities to older adults at the cost of $200 per month to be funded by Senior Services budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Dr. Consuela Gilchrist.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this will afford Senior Services an opportunity to provide services to citizens who reside in the 30187 zip code at New Mountain Top Baptist Church. And those services include social and recreational services, physical activities, health education, and congregate meals. We're currently serving about 38 seniors at the moment.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, any question for Dr. Gilchrist?
Madam Chair.
Uh-huh.
No,
Vice Chair, you have the floor.
You're on the same road as Connors Road that leads back to that senior living center back there at Mirror Lake.
Yes.
So I'm sure they'll be quite happy to have some activities that are close by, because I do hear that some of them have issues driving all the way down to Douglasville or other areas for them to have activities. So I appreciate you looking out there in that area. And I see some new Mountaintop Baptist Church people here. I'm sure there's a good group of seniors out there that are absolutely going to love this once it comes there. So I thank you for that. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much.
Just one minute.
Any other? Commissioner Raxton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So again, this is great. So glad to hear this. If the contract and if the approval is provided, how soon will the services be made available?
We're currently providing those services now. This is our second year.
Okay, so it's ongoing, so it's a continuation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then, okay, so we'll be looking to bring this forth year over year?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, great, thank you. Madam Chair, I give the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, Board?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell, you
Thank
have
you.
the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just, so that $200 cost per month, I think it is, to New Mountaintop?
Yes.
We're already accounted for it, so you're good.
It's in our budget, yes,
It's
sir.
in your budget, and
Yes,
I
sir.
guess we'll plan definitely for next year to make this continue these types of services, which I think is great. I mean, great that we're doing this. And I mean, you've already been doing this. It's just that it's now a little bit more convenient for those seniors out further west. So
Yes.
we're accounting for this.
We're good.
Okay.
It's in our budget.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank
I
you.
yield back, Madam Chair. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Gilchrist, I just had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The meals, 2 days per week, what 2 days can you provide us? with
We
those?
usually, for New Mountaintop, is Monday and Wednesday. With this MOU, it will be Monday and every other Wednesday or Friday.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then also, the meal preparation, we providing it at preparing at our facility, or you utilizing?
Yes, a hot meal from our Fairburn Road Senior
Yeah,
Center.
the same facility, okay. That's all I have. I think it's wonderful, great.
Can I just one
Okay.
other?
Commissioner Mitchell, you have
So
the
if I'm
floor.
hearing you correctly, so New Mountaintop is not going to allow us to at least even have access, to their facilities, but not for cooking.
No, we prepare for
preparing, I guess I
all of
should
our
say.
Meals on Wheels and our home delivered meals programs,
Right.
as well as our congregate programs. We provide those services. They're prepared in our Fairburn Road location, So we provide a hot meal to the seniors in the county who are enrolled in that services 5 days a week.
Right. So it's easier to have it and do everything there at the Fairburn Road location versus where we've got New Mountaintop, who's allowing us to, I guess, facilitate some items out of there for those seniors that's further out west who want to use the services out west, correct?
Yes, it's easier for our staff
Okay.
to provide, to prepare the meals at the Fairburn
Fairburn
Road
Road
location
location.
in the kitchen that we have, and then to transport. As a matter of fact, just a note of praise, the health department showed up last week unexpected, and we made a 100, our kitchen team. So we do an amazing job. So hats off to the kitchen team at
Okay,
Fairburn
okay.
Road Senior Center.
Okay.
And then I actually have an audit at 1 o'clock.
Okay,
So for that
okay.
service, yes, sir.
Well,
So
let me not hold you up.
Thank
Thank you
you.
again. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. I yield back, Madam Chair. I yield back.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr.
All right,
Gilchrist.
that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Clerk?
Number 28 is approval of the 2025 Douglas County Employee Benefit Offerings as recommended by the Benefits Committee, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Danielle Nichols.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, and Administration. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. Our Benefits Committee meets twice a year to review our current offerings and the impact of those offerings on our employees, as well as analyzing renewal options and avenues for cost savings. So with that, the committee has identified a sound renewal option for 2025 for the board's consideration. So at this time, I would like to bring up John Leggett, who is one of our advisors with our benefit broker, MSI Benefits, who will walk us through a recap of our 2024 renewal, as well as he'll delve into specifics related to the 2025 renewal option.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
There it is. John Leggett with MSI Benefits Group, and like you said, I'm going to run through the a shortened version of the presentation that was presented a week ago to the Benefits Committee. I also gave everybody a printed copy for your records as well. So slide 2 is a recap. I like to recap what we did for 2024. So in 2024, we renewed our medical plan with Anthem. We kept the Veracity program in place, which administers pharmacy. We did carve out the stop loss. The stop loss prior to 24 was administered by Anthem. But this year we carved that out. And so we made that change. There were no changes to the employee health plans, to the employee cost. We kept the $75,000 wellness benefit in place, and no changes to the plans or employee deductions. For 2024, the budget number was about 3%. And obviously that's up for renewal in 2025, which I'll get into. For the dental, we also renewed with Anthem. There was an 8% increase for this year. We included that with no change to employee plans or deductions. And that is up for renewal, but Anthem has issued a rate pass on the administrative fees for administering the dental. There was no change with the vision for 24. We're not looking to see, it's not up for renewal this year. Basic life, that is also in a rate lock till 2026, as is the short-term and long-term disability. We also implemented a radiology savings program, which I'll recap here in a moment. On the next slide, this is just kind of a snapshot of where we're at this year. As you know, the county's self-funded, and the plan year runs on a calendar year, so January through December. Every year we're looking at the benefits renewal. It's generally around this time, and stop-loss carriers, and they all want to see as most recent data as they can. And so this year we were able to get a firm number with claims data through August. So looking at the snapshot up top, you can see our medical claims in blue, we've just over 9.5 million for the year. Pharmacy claims, just over 1.1 million for the year. We've had 8 stop-loss claimants. Just to kind of recap what that is, anybody that goes over the $175,000 stop-loss deductible, above that is reimbursed by the stop-loss insurance. So we've had 8 members go over the deductible with about $950,000 that's been reimbursed so far through August. So it leaves our net at just under 9.8 million. And when we compare that to how the plan is expected to run, you know, we do have aggregate protection maximum liability, so that's built into the contract. And so generally speaking, we're budgeting about 80% of that max liability. So based on the enrollment that we have seen through the end of August, our expected claim liability is $10,456,000. But you can see we've ran it right at 9.8 million, which is about $695,000 below expected. Another way to look at that is we're 93% of the expected liability, or 7% below expected, and we're 78% of the max contract. As I mentioned, about 80% is generally what you're gonna budget for. So we've seen membership increase. Last year when we were here talking about the renewal, there were 953 employees enrolled, employees and some retirees. This year we're at 1,037. So enrollment has gone up, and even with that enrollment increasing, our claims have still continued to run a little bit better than expected. Another thing that's a big part of our stop loss insurance, as I mentioned, that was carved out this year for the first time. You know, we have Anthem as our administrator, and they had always administered the stop loss, so we carved that out in 2024. And so you're going to see that our current stop-loss carrier is going to be who we're recommending to stay with, which is Voya, and we had another competitive option I'll get into. But when you're looking at your stop-loss and comparing the actual claims to premium, so far through August, we've ran at about 65%, which is actually the target. So 65% for a full year would be the target. Of course, we still have 4 months left in the year, and we know that there's 8 members out there that have already gone over the deductible, so we'll see how that pans out. But we're running as expected, or even better with our claim liability, and we're right on target with our stop loss. So I'll stop and pause there to see if there's any questions on this slide. This is just kind of a snapshot to lead into the renewal.
Okay, thank you so much, John. Board of Commissioners, any questions? You may proceed.
Okay. The next slide is a year by year, month by month graph of how the pharmacies ran. In 2022, the county elected to move from Anthem, carve out the pharmacy coverage with Veracity, and it's still there today. And so you can see up top right-hand corner, I'm sorry, look down the bottom. You can see in 2021 where the county's total spend was for pharmacy and where it's been year after year. So we're running about half of where it was when it was Anthem, so we've experienced some really good savings there. This does not include rebates, so built into some of the medications that are filled are pharmacy rebates, and they come 100% back to the county. And just to kind of give you an idea what that is, this $214,000 was paid back to the county in 2023. The other thing I always like to point out is we like to look at the national average. The national average for pharmacy costs per member per month is about $151, and Douglas County is running right at $71.50. So you can see about half of that national average. So we've seen really good experience with Veracity. The next slide recaps a decision that was made this year, which was real nice benefit to employees, and that's with the Know the Cost, which is the radiology savings program. So members that want to get a CAT scan, CT scan, MRI, anything like that, they can get it at no cost, and there's a claim charge that's paid by the county, which is going to be greatly less than what would have been paid, say, had they gone to the hospital. So year to date, we've seen about 73 members or 73 claims be processed with a savings to the county of about $46,000. And I know we've got some feedback from folks. They've said this program is great. So before they were paying deductible, they were paying coinsurance. Now they're paying nothing, and the county's experiencing savings from that. Additionally, the county will continue to have a $75,000 wellness fund into 2025 through Anthem. Still got some money to spend there. Of course, the health fair will be coming up, which will utilize that. And as far as the rewards program, we're keeping that the same going into 2025 as well, where members can earn gift cards. The next slide gets us into the recommendation, the 2025 renewal option. There were, like I said, a couple of options that we were looking at. You know, when we did go to market on the stop loss, there, I think 15 to 20 markets reviewed it. Our most competitive option came back at about $300,000 more in premium. So we're looking at overall about a 13, right at 14% increase in our fixed cost. That does include the Veracity mobile app, which I'll get into. And even with the increase from Voya, which is about 10% in our premium for the stop loss, even with that increase, it's still 4% better than where Anthem was trying to take us for 2024. Now, the other option we looked at had a much higher premium, which was the most competitive, but their claim factors were a little bit better. So this was what the Benefits Committee reviewed a week ago, and we always recommend lower premium. Your claims are your claims. Claims are running a little bit better than expected for this year, and so it can make their numbers look a lot better when they say, oh, your claims are going to run a lot better under our stop loss, when essentially they're going to run as they run. So we always recommend the lowest premium, and Voya renewal was that. So overall, you can see the fixed cost increase is about $318,000, and if you factor in claims at $570, we're looking at about a 5.5% increase, or $889,000. Again, part of that is premium, and part of that is expected claims. Claims will run as the claims run. No changes to employee costs or the health plans. Any questions on this slide?
Okay. Any questions, board?
Okay.
Okay, no questions.
And then real quickly, I mentioned the mobile app. Again, Veracity's done a great job managing the costs, and employees and their dependents really love the program. They have a new app they're rolling out. We're going to be promoting this during open enrollment. Members will be able to really maximize their savings through the app. If they're taking a medication that they can get at no cost or a lower cost, it's going to tell them that. They can push a button through the app and they can get it. They can see their full list of drugs. They can change pharmacies. They can change medications, all through the app. So we'll be promoting that, and we anticipate that's going to drive costs down even better with pharmacy. Our next slide is our Medicare Advantage Renewal Program. This is administered by Aetna, and this is for our retirees that are on Medicare. There were some mandated changes through CMS. Obviously, with a Medicare Advantage plan, this is they essentially take over Medicare Part A and B, and anybody that's insured through this program only has one ID card when they go to the doctor. They give them their Aetna Medicare card. So CMS regulates this, and there were some mandated changes, which is what has caused an increase. All of our clients that have this program, we've seen relatively the same increase. And while the gross annual premium increase is $140,000, retirees do pay a portion of it. Some retirees do, some don't. It's really kind of all over the board based on the classes. So that's the overall gross premium increase for the year under the program with those mandated changes. One new thing that's part of the Safe Communities Act of 2021 that's going into effect is going to be the new voluntary Legal Shield Public Servant Plan. This is a program that will be offered to all full-time and part-time public safety employees to include legal representation during all civil administration or criminal actions resulting from his or her role as a public safety employee. This is a program that's 100% employee paid, and as you can see, it's part of that Safe Communities Act of 2021, so this will go on the menu for January 1st. And then the last slide here is just the 2025 recommendations as presented by the Benefits Committee. Again, renewing the health plan with really all administrators in place, Anthem, Veracity, and Voya. No other changes. Renewing the health plan, the retiree health plan with Aetna. Keeping the dental and vision, again, with Anthem, there's no changes there. Really, all the other benefits are to remain the same, so the only thing that's changing would be the health plan and the retiree health plan.
Thank you.
So we're definitely open to answer any questions that you all may have at this time.
Okay, thank you so much, Director. Board of Commissioners, are there any questions? No questions at this time?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Clerk, you have the floor.
Number 29 is approval of a participation agreement for merchant services processing with Truist Bank, formerly SunTrust Bank, to allow Douglas County Board of Commissioners to utilize the master services agreement between the Office of the State Treasurer and Truist Bank, which sets pricing for the equipment and processing fees with no cost to the county, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Suzanne Norris.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. We're excited to have this opportunity. We've been using this for the last several years. The state takes advantage of, enters into this master services agreement with Truist Bank to allow us to have the best pricing for our merchant services. And so this, again, has been a contract that we've worked with for years. The state has recently renegotiated the contract with Truist, and that's requiring that this be updated. So any questions that you might have, our departments that take in fees or have any programs that they're needing to bring in money, this allows an easier way for our departments to enter into these agreements and to take in the fees.
Thank you so much, Deputy CFO Norris. Board of Commissioners, do we have any questions for our Deputy CFO?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay. Number 30 is approval of the 2025 schedule for Board of Commissioner work sessions, commission meetings, Planning and Zoning Board member meetings and variance hearings. And I will just take this one. This is just, every year we adopt the schedule for the next year. And I'll go over the exceptions to the first Tuesday and third Tuesday of each month. Adjusted dates are January 22nd and 23rd. We moved those due to the MLK holiday. The July 7th and 8th, and the July 21st and 22nd meetings, we moved those to the second and fourth week due to the July 4th holiday. And September 8th and 9th and September 22nd and 23rd meetings, we moved those also to the second and fourth week due to the Labor Day holiday. And we, planning and zoning schedule is according to the schedule, so. Do you have any questions?
Okay, any questions, board? No questions, okay. Thank you so much, Clerk. I believe there's one more.
Yes, thank you. The last item, number 31, is just approval of Commissioner Raxton's reimbursement expenses for the month of August 2024 in the amount of $147.33 and $238, and those are a combination of local expenses and his legislative conference.
Okay. Would we have any questions regarding the approval of expenses? Okay. Being none, okay. Clerk, thank you so much. Board of Commissioners, or do we have any commissioner comments at this time? Would you like to make any comments? Okay. With that being said, certainly I will reach out to our county attorney. Attorney Wiggins, do we need to go into executive session?
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have personnel and legal items.
Okay, personnel and legal. Okay. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to move into executive session?
Madam Chair, make a motion to go into executive session for personnel and legal matters.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please indicate by raising your right hand if you. Okay, we have a 5-0 unanimous vote to go into executive session. With that being said, we will now adjourn the work session and move into the executive session. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.